I thought I was alone in the house until I heard someone whisper my name through the wall behind the bed. The voice was calm, too calm. It was just one night. That's what I kept telling myself as I pulled into the gravel driveway of the old farmhouse. I'd been driving for almost 8 hours straight, and this place was the only available listing within 30 miles. No hotels, no motels, nothing but private rentals. This one was cheap, well rated, and supposedly quiet. The owner, a man named Keith, met me at the door. He looked to be in his 60s, thin, tall, with an odd smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. He wore a cardigan despite the warm weather, and his hands trembled when he handed me the key. "You'll be in the back room," he said, "just down the hall. Bathroom's across from it. I'll be upstairs if you need anything." I thanked him and dragged my bag to the room. It was basic queen bed, side table, old wooden dresser. There was something off about the space though. The air felt still, not stale, just paused, like no one had moved in it for a long time. The only window was cracked open a few inches, letting in the chirp of night insects and the occasional rustle of dry leaves. I showered, texted my girlfriend that I'd made it safe, and climbed into bed around 11:30. That's when I first heard its soft, deliberate tapping from behind the headboard. I sat up. It stopped immediately. I waited, listening, thinking. Maybe it was pipes or an old house settling. Nothing. I lay back down and turned off the lamp. 15 minutes later, just as I was drifting off, I heard it again. Tap, tap, tap. Slow, measured, right behind my head. This time, I sat up quickly, heart thudding. I reached back and knocked once on the wall, half as a challenge, half hoping I wouldn't get a response. I did. 3 taps. Exactly the same rhythm as before. Now, I was fully awake. I turned on the lamp, got out of bed, and examined the wall. It was just painted drywall. No marks, no holes, nothing. I knocked again, harder this time. Silence. I paced the room for a minute, feeling foolish. Maybe it was the wind, maybe an animal in the walls. I laid back down but left the light on. That's when I heard it, a voice, faint but clear. "Male, you shouldn't be here." My spine stiffened. The voice had come from the wall, not above me, not from the hallway through the wall. I stared at the plaster, not breathing. Then, after a few seconds, "Can you hear me?" It was unmistakable. Someone was whispering from behind the wall slowly, deliberately, like they wanted to be heard but not noticed. I stood up and stepped back, unsure if I was imagining it. I pulled my phone from the nightstand and opened the voice recorder. "Hello?" I said, pointing the phone at the wall. Nothing. I held my breath. Then, soft breathing, drawn out, raspy. "Keith doesn't like visitors who stay too long," the voice finally said. "He watches them through the cracks." I turned and left the room instantly. The hallway was dark. I grabbed my shoes, didn't bother tying them, and walked straight to the front door. Locked. Of course, it was locked. I flipped the deadbolt, yanked the handle, nothing. The lock was jammed, or maybe broken. I didn't care. I pulled out my phone to call Samioniani. No signal. Figures. I turned to head back down the hall toward the kitchen. Maybe there was a side door. And that's when I saw him, Keith, standing at the far end of the hallway, just watching me. No expression, no movement. Just standing, his head tilted slightly as wide. "I didn't mean to scare you," he said softly. "Most people don't notice it." I backed away, my voice caught somewhere between my lungs and throat. "I hard Samianin the wall," I managed to say. He smiled, not with his mouth, with his eyes. "There's no one in the wall," he said. "Just me. I built that room myself. Every board, every nail." I ran past him, not stopping even when he flinched as I passed. I found a back door through the laundry room, unlocked it, and sprinted barefoot down the gravel path toward my car. I didn't even grab my bag. When I looked back, Keith wasn't following. He was just standing in the kitchen window, watching. The cops didn't find anything when I reported it the next day. They called Keith eccentric, said H owned the property for years. No criminal record. The house checked out except for one thing. The room I stayed in, it wasn't on the floor plan. There was no wall behind the bed, at least, not on paper. When they opened it up, they found a narrow, dust-choked crawlspace about 2 feet wide running the entire length of the wall. No lights, just old footprints in the dust. And a chair, facing the wall, exactly behind where my bed had been.